Okay, good morning again. One pressing problem is that I literally almost have no money at all now. Like, I should get a little bit from national security or whatever, like 1,000 shekel in a couple of days. What's the date now? In 9 days. So it's gonna be the balance will be 10 shekels a day from now until then, which is very little, like $3 a day. We'll see what we can do. Probably just buy water because water is disgusting in the tap here. So I hope you liked my previous video for today, the Garage Incorporated. These are topics that are very hypothetical. So I would gladly get any comments, even though I know it's not new to me that 90% of the comments that I get are misinformation, disinformation. It was always like that. But I mean, with time you learn to start to get knowledge both from information and from disinformation. And this is one of the things that you have to learn to do, when you deal with secret stuff. I mean, to learn both from the truthsayers and the liars. And it's especially true with things that are so theoretical, like these. And actually, it's not really important, actually. Most of these theories, I mean, or the subject of, I mean, what the Venusian, what actually, what the Russians actually saw, and later the Europeans and the Americans actually saw on the surface of Venus that frightened them. And also the question of who exactly and in what circumstances can pass the gates. It's not very, very important, I should say. It's just an interesting thing to think about, but it's not very, very important. And so, yeah, I mean, I would gladly get any, even just, guesses or assumptions, because it's interesting. It's interesting. And although the whole notion of real hybrids, hybrids not in a way that until now throughout 4 years when I use the term hybrid a lot, actually. It's the key term in my terminology. And I always say that these are my worst enemies, and this is actually related to the current saga of the Ziggurat of Ur. And since yesterday was an important chapter, but if you're really anxious, I can make the effort to. Of course, there are more chapters in this saga to be recorded. If you're really anxious, I can spend time today to speak about it a little more, more chapters, even though I intend to do other stuff today. That's my intention. So regarding the Garage Incorporated video for previously, so these are very, I mean, everything that I deal with is very theoretical and hypothetical and secret, but hidden from public eye. But some aspects are even more theoretical than others, and this also is true to my science endeavors. Specifically, I'm saying everything that's related to energy theory is very fringe in the things that I do. Everything that I do is kind of like an alien science, but even within the alien science, there are things that are more, I would say, outlandish. So one of it is the issue of energy theory, which I spoke about quite a bit in this channel in the last couple of months. So with these kind of issues, I mean, either it's being that scientific issues or historical issues or political issues, like the ones that I've spoken about in this previous video, the Garage Incorporated video. Even more than any time else, I'm entertained by the many by responses, because it's so theoretical and then hypothetical. So it's enlightening to hear both actual advices or actual information, hard proof information, and also lies, and just fairy tales and rumors that that intelligence people like to pull out of their asses or wherever. I mean, it's just because it's fun. It's like a science fiction brainstorming. So regarding the agenda, so I need to complete the next sculpture of the starship, the Cherubian starship. This will be also true for symbolic reasoning, because then I will be able to create like what I call a complete bona fide arc room, which is something that I never had actually, because I don't have. I'm living in an apartment now, in the house arrest, and before it, my mother's apartment, and when I was in my own apartment in Shoam, although I certainly had this is the manifestation of the help of God, and also you might say the Wolverine-like nature of the cherubs. But I really need to be, not to do stupid stuff that will get this worm or worms in my tongue again. But it looks good. So when I lived in my own apartment in Shoam, I also, of course, I dealt a lot with paintings. Actually, most of the paintings that you see, almost all of them are from this time. Even though not all of them were painted in apartment in Shoam, in the balcony, because many were painted outside. I painted also outside, like in nature, quite a bit. But I didn't. But the symbolic language wasn't developed. I didn't have Of course, I was very occupied with the symbolic language at the time, but I wasn't. I didn't have the knowledge that I have now, and now I understand that. I understand the concept of the Cherubian room. It's actually, it's the first Cherubian room that documented in probably the first one that is documented in human writings. What was it? It was I'm not sure that it is first. It's first that's come to my mind because I am inclined to think along those lines because of my background with the Holy Bible, but maybe it's not true that it's the first documented one, but it's the Kodesh HaKodashim, as depicted in Kings 1 or King 3, according to some Christian denomination titling of the books of the Bible, with the two cherubs. So it's the idea that there is paintings on both sides, and in the middle sculptures also it's not exactly the same, because the cherubs in this room were huge. The cherubs in this room were huge. It's not like the cherubs that you see in the typically modern representations of cherubs are following the lines that you can see in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Of course, they didn't invite. Spielberg didn't invited that. It was known, but it's kind of a modern representation of a relatively small relatively small box, with the two relatively small golden statues, one opposed to the other. So this is and perhaps it could be said that this maybe relies on interpretation of the ark from the days of the desert, before after Mount Sinai, and when they carried it, so it's kind of a mobile device, a mobile device that was carried by the Levim. But the one that was in the actual the cherubs that were inside that are depicted in the Bible were huge. like, I mean, 5 meters or 10 meters, I don't remember, 5 meters, like, or maybe the wings were 5 meters. So it's like, I mean, so like, so actually, the Kodesh HaKodashim, like, I mean, the holy of the holiest in the temple was actually, it was mostly cherubs. Like, I mean, it was mostly that. I mean, it was mostly like two huge cherubs. It's kind of, I mean, it's time to think about it because, like, yes, at least in our thought, it immediately carries pagan kind of like, I mean, references or pagan associations. I mean, it's the holiest place for Jews that are famous for monotheism, you know, in the old temple, the Solomon temple. And I mean, no one can enter it besides, like, I mean, only one person, and even he can only do it like one day a year. I mean, you know, Yom Kippur. So it's so holy, but I mean, according to the text in the Bible itself, I mean, if you do the mathematics, it's mostly two cherubs. Like, I mean, it's almost all of it is just two cherubs. It's not just, I mean, but it's two cherubs, two huge sculptures made out of wood covered with gold. We don't know exactly how they look like, and actually, there is a long tradition. I mean, there is like a long, like, I mean, argument in Chazal, you know, like thousands of years, or what exactly, how do they even look like? Because from the depiction in Ezekiel, it's difficult to understand. Like, I mean, in Ezekiel, what's depicted is not sculptures of the cherubs, but actual cherubs, and it's even more perplexing. Like, I mean, and even though it should be said that the representation in Ezekiel is somewhat, even though it's so perplexing and like out of this world. I mean, and, you know, until now there are many people saying it's actually we've seen a UFO, that Ezekiel 1 and 2, like what is called the Maaseh Merkava, that actually is the depiction. It's an ancient depiction of a UFO sighting, and it's actually a very common, quite common belief, at least during the 20th and the 21st centuries. But actually, in some way, it could be argued that this depiction is actually closer to the understanding of the cherubs that was prevalent in the Near East. And maybe it makes sense because Ezekiel was Babylonian, of course, and he was a Babylonian scholar. So, of them as creatures that are like sphinx, that have like characteristics of both humans and animals. For certain, I mean, from all of that, I mean, the common strand is that I mean, they have the shape-shifting ability. But so where were we? I mean, I quite understand. So the room, so the cherubim room, the Holy of the Holies, was dominated by these two cherubs. It's like a huge two cherubs, one in front of the other, and in the middle there is the ark, and the arks contain two stones, I mean, the two half of the, maybe two half of the you know, the Luchot HaBrit that are broken. So this is like the perfect cherubian room, which means like you have on opposing sides like something, I mean, on opposing sides, and in the middle also, I mean, duality of things that are similar but not exactly the same. And I never had, like, I mean, the ability to actually do it, and I still don't, because I mean, first I didn't understand it. I mean, when I lived in my own apartment, I didn't, like, in my rented apartment. It wasn't my own apartment. I was rented, of course, but I rented the apartment and I couldn't like pay the rent, so I have to live to my mother's apartment last August, and from there things only deteriorated in my life, as you understand. But maybe I could have done it when I lived like in my rented house, because I had like a workroom or something like that I can. But anyway, I didn't understand it, and after that, I mean, I know I live in one room and I do everything. I eat here and I do everything in the same room, like, so in this hostel. So and it's also dangerous to do it, actually, because I mean, I myself, like, I'm in the middle of the room, so I can be represented as one of the as one of the luchot, like one of the command. I don't know how to say the words, like the commandments, like the luchot abrit, like the clay sculptures were the Ten Commandments originally were written by God himself, but Moses actually broke them, so it's broken inside the ark. So I can be like, I don't want to be the luchot, the actual sculpture. So because most of this stuff is almost everything, almost all of these paintings and sculptures are all negative. It's not something that you want. Like the spaceships. Like the spaceship, you understand that, the best kind of relationship that you can have with those spaceships is never to know about it. And the second best is not to see it. Like, not in your eyes and not using telescopes. Like, if you know about these spaceships, you are already like 90, you've done 90% of your way towards hell. And if you've seen it in your telescopes, and I don't know if you had, I don't know. But if you've seen it on your telescopes, you are already 99%, you've done 99% your way to hell. You don't want to know about it, and you don't want to see it. These spaceships are made to fight in wars that are beyond anything that is even depicted in your Star Wars movies. It's like astronomical meat grinders. It's like they are designed to acquire billions of targets simultaneously and to destroy them simultaneously. Seriously, you don't even have such things in your science fiction. You don't want to know about it, and if you do know, and now you know, you don't want to watch it in your telescopes. Anyway, we were discussing the Cherubian room, so the idea is that the perfect Cherubian room, it contains both the opposing, the dominating elements, one in front of the other, and in the middle, two sculptures made out of clay or something that is symbolizes. Because, it's not like, it's all symbolic. You can almost every object can be replaced with something that symbolizes it. Of course, it needs to be done in a reasonable way. It's not like you need specific kind of gold from I don't know where, from Timnah or whatever, or wood pines from cedar, from Lebanon or whatever. Because it's mostly symbolic. So anyway, but I do want to complete the Cherubian room, which will be my only room that I have, that is the room that I'm renting. I just need to mind to do it while I'm not there, because I don't want to be part of the construction, which is paradoxical, because how can I do it when I'm not there? So I think the basic option is just to clear one of the walls. I already started it yesterday because I was so tired yesterday after 3 nights without sleep. So I will just remove the paintings from the wall, and if I want to complete the construction of the room, I just need to paint. to put like to place two paintings on the nails and quickly get out of the room. So I will not be part of the room because it's never. I mean, potentially it could be good. I mean, you can also create Caribbean room with good intent, like with kind of like blessing. But it was never something that it was in my agenda, using during the last couple of years, and I don't see anything like it in the near or far future. So what I would more specifically, so I mean, what I need in order to complete such a room is, I mean, specifically we can over. I have all sorts of like curses of the earth, as you know, but the one that I'm focused now with regard to the starship is to complete another starship sculpture. This is actually it takes some time because, as I said, this is even like seemingly simple clay sculptures, if they are, I mean, big enough, and I mean, even like this size, like see this size of this trash can, just something that I see here, is, I mean, something this size is already quite big. We need to think about feelings and like it should not be too heavy and will not crash under its weight and balance and of course it's filled with 20 like the ejaculations like 20 balls that so you need to actually, I mean, so it's another kind of like design constraint. So probably take me a couple of hours. I started yesterday. I've created one gear, as you've seen. So I need another gear and the Excel. It will not be one. It will be different. It will be different because it will be one on top of the other, and also it will be more artistic because I want to have the 4 representations of the cherubs from the book of Ezekiel. So it will take me a good couple of hours. So this is the agenda for today, and also if I'm in the mood, I will continue with the Ziggurat of Ur series. So that's it for now.